Welcome to the podcast, People More Interesting Than Me. I'm your host, Michael Strumsky, where every week I host a new guest with unique professions, personal adversity, or even maybe a strong opinion or two. And if you haven't hit the 5 stars review on Apple Podcasts, please hit it now before you forget. Running a podcast is a surprising amount of work, and more reviews converts into a wider range of future guests. Welcome our guest, Samantha Basco, a seasoned Grammy Award seat filler, who's witnessed the music industry's pinnacle from the front rows, sharing first-hand accounts for an exclusive glimpse into the glamour, excitement, and surprise of the Grammy experience. Get ready to hear the untold stories that unfold behind the stage lights. Enjoy. So, I was reading the article, and the thing that fascinated me was how, like, you're from Ireland, correct? Kildare.
Yeah.
And I even think I've been there because my wife and I went. I don't know what year it was. Maybe like 2018 or something. And Kildare, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
And the only thing I swear we went to Kildare because I remember it's got the churches and the graves. That was like the big thing you go to see, right? Like there's like this one
There's a lot
church.
of them. There's a
uh,
lot of them
that
towns. I don't know.
that's what I figured, because when I looked at photos just to see if I could get a base, I was like, okay, I feel like I've been there, but just like you said, there's a lot of churches and there's a lot of graves. Um, so what made you come from Ireland over to LA, like to at least be in that position?
Yeah, so I think I was a year out of college, and I did the graduate visa, which is like the US and Ireland have this partnership. I think I'm not too sure about it, but
It
um,
makes, I mean, it makes complete sense, but yeah.
yeah. So we did that part. I applied for it. I was really sick of my job, and I was just like, oh, I really I want to see what America has. And I know a lot of people usually do like the 3 month stint, which is like the J1 visa. But I was like, I'll do the year, I'll work there, I'll see what it's like, because I've always wanted to go to LA. I've never been to America before that. So yeah, for me, I was just like, yeah, let's go full in. Let's just move to a completely different country, different city. I didn't know anyone. So yeah, I just literally moved because that's what I was like, I have an opportunity to do so. Let's do that.
That's crazy, especially since, well, I mean, if you're gonna move to if you're gonna move to the US, that's probably that, or New York is probably one of the good ones to at least if you want to, if you are your age, what were you, like 18, 19, something
No,
like
I
that?
was 21, 22. And
Uh,
when I moved to LA, they were like, oh, it's good you stayed to the coast. They were like, you should stay to the coast when you're in America. And I was like, oh, okay.
yeah, I mean, that is a good rule. A lot of the good cities are on the coast. Not saying that there's no good cities, but I mean, like, you've got all these great ones. I mean, like Portland, California, obviously, just like we're talking about, New York City, Boston, Philadelphia, Atlanta, all those are like some of the best. So what were you doing? Let's say, yeah, what were you doing, I guess, as a job when you moved over here then?
I didn't have a job for like 3 months, and then eventually I got a job as an oh my God, I forgot what the name of the company was, like Raw, and it was for events. And basically you'd like search online, you'd search any like event talent spaces for artists, visual artists, like actual painters and stuff like that, or performers. And we'd invite them to shows around the US. So there was like they had different showcases, like in New York, they had them in like middle America. So yeah, that was my job, was like literally searching online to figure out people, to find people to come to these showcases. I didn't move to America to be like, I'm going to start my career here. It was literally like, I knew I was going to be there for 1 year. I was like, I'm going to go to LA, I'm going to do all the fun stuff. And I eventually met a friend who I actually met online on like a housing page. So like it sounds really dodgy, but he turned out to be super normal. And then he was the one who introduced me to like, LA does a lot of free premieres. They just want people in seats. And we started going to premieres. And then I seen one for the Grammys, and then I just applied. I didn't even like think about it. I was like, oh, I'll just apply. It's free.
What other premieres
And then I
did you?
think 2 or 3 weeks later, like a week before the Grammys, I got a message.
Mm-hmm. What other shows did you do before the Grammys or seat fill for it?
Yeah, so we went to a few premieres. I can't even think of the name of the movies. We've gone to so many of them, but there was one, Millie Bobby Brown's one with I think it was like the King Kong one. I don't know what it was.
Okay.
There was one with Melissa McCartney. I think it was like The Kitchen or something like that,
Okay.
or I don't know.
You did a bunch of movies, and you did. I think I saw from the article you also did a couple of what are they called? Late night talk shows, stuff like that. Okay.
Did James Corden, and then I also did Jimmy Kimmel, and I think we were trying to get on to Ellen at that time because she was giving out a lot of like goodies.
Yeah.
So we were trying to get that, like literally anything that we could do for free. It's like a super unique experience because you can't really do this in Ireland. So we were like, let's just apply.
Yeah, in Ireland, I guess it wouldn't. Well, yeah. I mean, there's probably like a handful. There's probably still a handful of shows in Ireland, but they're probably, you would say, based in like Dublin.
Yeah. But they're not like well known, yeah.
They're well known in Ireland, but they're not well known in the world. So tell me a little bit about, like, obviously you applied. I would imagine it's sort of like a lottery system, but they're obviously like looking for the certain type of person to be in the seats. They're not going to pick like a 6'9" person. They're not going to, you know what I mean? They're looking for people that are going to blend like with the celebrities. So tell me about
Yeah, I don't think the process was that lengthy. I think it was literally, I don't know if I had to upload a photo or anything. Like literally it was this like a passing thought. I saw the website, I just sent in my details and I sent the link to my friend. I was like, come on, let's go. And like I don't think they asked for pictures, but yeah, it was very straightforward. I just got an email then and it was like, you're invited, and then gave me the timings and stuff.
Okay. And I think when I was reading the article, I thought it was amazing because what was it, like a $68 dress that you had found, and I was like, that's so awesome. Like, and the other thing is, like I said, you're supposed to blend, and like when I saw the picture, I was like, oh, that's a very blendable dress that you have. Like it does, because I think in the article it mentions that like you don't want to get something that's like, did they tell you specifically that it was like it's got to be like a solid color or something like that?
Yeah, they said there was an email for like you couldn't do patterns because the camera will pick it up weird. So there was like no patterns, no brands, and it was like nude, or not nude, it was like muted colors. Of course, like they were just like, wear appropriate clothing, and then they listed things that you can't wear, like crazy hats or anything like that. But yeah, it was, I literally had to, I think I got the email on the weekend, and the Grammys was like 2 days after or something, so I was like, oh my god, I had to like really rush to get ready.
And did you do anything else like besides that? Obviously, like get your nails done or anything like outside of that? No, that's like amazing.
Because at that time as well, like I was like not earning that much money. I was like 21. I'm like, I'm here for fun. And I was just like, yeah, like,
no, that's perfect.
I did my own hair and my makeup. I didn't tell anyone until I posted it on my Instagram, and I was like, oh, I'm just here.
No, that's awesome. And like if I was in your position, I probably would have searched Rent the Runway. I mean, I don't know how big it, I mean, obviously it's probably working in LA, but that's what I would do. I whenever I'm going with my wife to a wedding, and I just think like, why don't you you're not going to wear, I know women hate wearing dresses again, unless they wear it on the complete opposite side of the world with people they've never seen before. and nobody takes a photo of it. But so kind of tell me start me off. Like you're in there with your, and by the way, just to straighten this out in my head, when you say pennies, you don't mean JC Penney's. In Ireland, there's a pennies, correct?
Yeah,
Okay,
so
just to clarify.
yeah, it's known as Primark usually, but it actually is an Irish brand. But because I think it was because JC Penney's was trademarked, they couldn't have pennies. In Ireland,
Okay.
it's called pennies, but in the UK and Europe, I think they have a few stores in the US now. They're called Primark, but it's
Okay.
basically like I can't really find an equivalent to it. Like it wouldn't be like TJ Maxx. It's just like it's like cheaper than Forever 21.
Is it? Oh, okay. I was gonna say
Right.
kind of like a what's that one? It's in the mall. It's not. It is Japanese. But it's not. There's two Japanese ones. I don't.
Muji?
Not Muji. Not that one. I like that one's newer. The older one. That's like a cheap brand. And it doesn't matter. I don't know why I can't think of it. Where were we at? So yeah, you're in your dress. You arrive. What happens from there?
So we literally had to be there so early. I think it didn't start till like 6. We had to be there till from 2. And I was like in heels and I was like, oh my God. I was like starting to regret it. We started getting our bands and like we had to queue around, I think it's a different name now, but it was the Staples Stadium at the time. We had to
Mm-hmm.
queue around there, and then we got our bands, we signed in. And also a really interesting one was seat fillers would have a gray ribbon,
Mm-hmm.
and they just pin it to their chest, and that's how you know you were a seat filler. But they were like they told us to like cover it with our hair or like make it not as noticeable.
Yeah.
So if you look at like any footage on any like award show, whether it's the Oscars or the Grammys, and you see someone with like a gray ribbon, that's a seat filler.
Okay. That's
Yeah. So,
interesting.
yeah, that's like a fun one. But yeah, like literally we queued up and then we were like all we started walking into the stadium. They brought us up, we saw the carpet and I was like, oh my God. And we all got a nice big photo in front of like the Grammy sign, and then we went in. And yeah, we got like, the thing with seat fillers is you don't have one seat to sit in, you
Mm-hmm.
get moved around constantly. So the first time we were like quite at the back, and I was just like looking at the people beside me, they didn't have gray ribbons, and I was like, who are you? But yeah, so we started from the back and then we eventually got to the front. But yeah, it was so interesting. Like I seen so many celebrities. I was like, oh my God, this is so cool.
And are you told, like, I mean, obviously you can't be like there's what are the big no-nos that, I mean, obviously if a person thinks about for like 20 seconds, they'll be like, obviously like no phones, and just like with anytime celebrities are on, there's no eating. You'll never see, like, unless you're on Hot Ones, obviously, but
Yeah.
you won't see people like, obviously there is no eating, correct?
No eating. There was no phones. You couldn't use your phone. But then like I eventually seen people using their phones and I was like, I'm not gonna miss this moment. Like I'm gonna take photos as well. And also if you were seated beside a celebrity, they told you like could not talk to them.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think so. I guess you were moving back and forth. Did you see, you talk about the rules, but did you see all the other seat fillers following those rules?
No, like I seen people like, we weren't supposed to have our phones out during performances, but like everyone had their phones out, even the celebrities. So I was like, okay, if they're gonna, like, there was some seat fillers that had their phones out taking pictures. I was like, I'm gonna do that. And then there was actually a guy when we were sitting at the front near Billie Eilish. I think he was I forgot which position he was in, but he asked her for a photo, and you're not supposed to do that like at all. But he asked her for a photo, and she said yeah, she got a photo, and like that picture then went like to so many news outlets being like, oh, Billy's team and all this, and I was just like, he's so annoying.
Yeah, that's crazy. Because I mean, I mean, I get it. Like
Yeah.
you might. I mean, obviously he'll never be invited back, but I guess he was just if he's in the area and he really loves Billie Eilish, I guess that would be the thing to do. Uh,
Yeah.
so overall, what was your and the other thing I was reading from your article that sounded crazy to me, but very, I don't know, uh, like a common person. Like once they got their award or the award was over, they dipped. Like they
Yeah.
didn't they didn't care about the rest of the ceremony, which like is so like normal. Like
Hmm.
after an award, if I hadn't won, or I feel like if I won, I would just be, like knocking back champagne at the event.
Yeah. You'd be
Uh
gone.
yeah. So I guess like you said, you slowly moved up towards the stage. And the other good thing that we haven't mentioned is you saw all these really good performances too. Like
Mhm.
I I didn't even think of that as like the really awesome part, because you basically got to go to, since it's the Grammys, you got like which people did you see perform?
It started with the Jonas Brothers, and then I think it was Bon Jovi. No, I don't know.
Okay.
I saw Billy Ray Cyrus and Lil Nas X. They performed with BTS, and then Ariana Grande performed "Thank You Next." Lizzo
Oh, that sounds
performed.
like a good
Billie
one to watch.
Eilish. Yeah, that was really good. Billie Eilish performed, and um, there was like, because it was a time Kobe passed away, so
Hmm.
they had a lot of what's that
Like
word?
memoriam and
Memorial.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And there was a lot of them. Like they had, some of them were doing like remix, like singing together. I just forget which ones they were, but yeah, like the big ones for me were definitely like Ariana Grande, and I seen Billie Eilish, but she like singing a really depressing song.
Okay.
So I was like, but yeah, they were so good. Like the Jonas Brothers, when I first, like that was the first performance of the night, I was like, oh my God, this is like a free concert. And I didn't even think about that when I applied.
And the way you said about like seat shuffling for all those people, when I think of like, to be fair, I never watch like award shows and stuff like
Yeah,
that, but like they're about like 2 hours, you would say, like at least the
yeah.
Grammys condensed, I'm saying.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like how long did the actual process take? It was like you said 2 p.m. to when did
I think we finished around like 11. So it was like a full day, yeah.
wow, okay. But yeah, man, condensing like that makes so much sense, because when I was thinking about it, I was like, man, they've got a lot of moving parts, like you said, like all those live performances. They've got like all these celebrities performing, but then they've also got the awards. But if they're stretching that to a period of like 9 hours, they're like
Yeah.
they're probably going slow, going back and forth. And I understand why actors and actresses would just like leave. I don't need to be here for nine
Yeah.
hours if I didn't win best artist of the year award or something like that. Makes complete sense. Um, is there anything that completely shocked you, like being there, that you were like, okay, that either made
I
it magical or completely like unmagical?
think for me, it like humanized celebrities a lot. Like coming from Ireland, you don't see these big names. Like when we moved to the front, like Lana Del Rey was literally arm's reach away. Ariana Grande was here. Chrissy Teigen and John Legend were near her. Billie Eilish, like literally, she was sitting right in front of me. And for me, it just really humanized them. So I was kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, they're just like normal people. So now I don't even like, I don't look at celebrities like, oh my God. But I was so young then, and now I'm just like, oh, they're just a normal person that, they're very talented and they're famous. But other than that, they're so normal. Some are smaller than you'd think. But yeah, definitely for me, that was just
Was Bruno Mars there?
no, I don't know. He's like really small. No, I was really disappointed though that like Taylor Swift wasn't there, because like I'm such a big Taylor Swift fan. I was like, if this was a
That's
chance,
yeah, that's surprising she wasn't there.
yeah, I think it was. No, it was 2019. So yeah, it was like her Lover era, and she wasn't there. So I was really sad about that. But I was like, I take it as an opportunity. It was so much fun. And just seeing how like the behind the scenes, there was like security guys being like, okay, you move here, you move here. And then like the minute the lights and the music came back on, like we all had to be seated and ready.
Like,
Like
shut
no.
up, shut up.
Yeah, literally.
uh, that wasn't really an issue, right? Like you don't have like chatty Cathys that they're like telling to
No.
like, okay. I would just imagine you'd have people talking and just like, I mean, just like anything when you've got like a group of people who haven't seen each other for a while or people who've never met before, you've got them talking in the background and you kind of have to say like, we're doing something here.
Yeah, there was none of that. And I think as well, a lot of the seat fillers, like we didn't know each other, so we didn't really like talk. Like there was one girl I met and I was like, oh my God, like like let's move around together. And yeah, but other than that, there was like no one knew each other because I asked everyone like, oh, how do you know anyone here? And they were like, no, everyone came by themselves, so we were all in the same boat.
Yeah, it makes sense. You wouldn't want like two best friends there and then like I said, they're just chatting in the bathroom. I'm not in the
Exactly.
bathroom, but in the background and they
Yeah.
both get thrown out, then you have to find more seat fillers. So overall, would you do it again?
Yeah, I definitely would. It's like a nice, it's a free event to go and sit with like these really talented people. And it's nice to dress up as well. And I remember after the Grammys, because I was sitting behind Billie Eilish, I was in the frame. My phone started to blow up, and it was my friends being like, "What are you doing at the Grammys?" I was like, yeah, I'm just here. So yeah, I definitely do that again. Like it's fun to say. Like I've been to the Grammys.
Mhm.
Um, I wouldn't say no, but the thing for me is like I wouldn't like to wait again.
Mhm.
Um, I value my time now. I'm not that, I
Because
was very young, so
now that you say that, I'm thinking like 8 hours, like restrictive eating, like bathroom breaks, stuff like that. You're literally just sitting there. You can't be on your phone. It's really just like you have to. You're just like being in the environment. Like you have to take what you're
Mm,
watching. But I mean, like you are around celebrities. They are performing. They're doing all this other stuff. So I guess it would be fascinating, especially if you love the music industry.
exactly. Yeah. I think after it we really tried to apply for the Oscars.
Mhm.
But that was like so lengthy and you could like that was the dinner and apparently you it was very selected so we didn't get that one but yeah
That one
I
though, you have to send in a recording of you eating like a steak or something like that to make sure you like chew your or close your mouth when you're chewing, like all this other stuff, right?
yeah but yeah it was fun though like honestly it was definitely an exciting time um and yeah really enjoyed it.
So would you ever be a professional seat filler?
Oh God. No, because I hate like sitting down and like that's all you can do. You can't move around. You can't like, lie back. So no, I wouldn't.
Okay.
Or for me.
Because I know a lot of not this is obviously way to the next level, but I know some people are like stand-in bridesmaids and stuff like that. And I think that's like obviously that's to like a whole nother level that you're doing, but I think that's crazy too. Um, okay. The last question I like to do, which I've already prepped you for, I hope you have at least a little bit of thought. What is something that your parents did growing up or whoever raised you that you like to pass on to the next generation? And on the other side of it, what's something new or something that you change with your kids or a next generation, not necessarily your kids?
For me, when I was growing up, my mom taught me to be really independent, and not too much of, I don't need to rely too much on her. So I definitely like to pass that on because I think because I'm so independent now, I think having this sounds really bad, but I think if I had a child and they were so clingy, I'd be like, be independent.
Yeah, yeah, But the other thing I
But
forgot to mention is you're in Dubai right now, so that's how independent you are, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I even forgot
yeah.
to ask you that too. I was just like Ireland.
I'm in Dubai. I'm here with my partners.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm so independent, and I think it's so important as a quality, because you're not relying on anyone, you're self-sufficient, and anything that happens, you're always going to have you. You're not going to always have your partner or your parents. So I'd like to pass that on to, if I had a child. Now I bet you when I have a child, they're going to be like so clingy. And I think the tradition I'd like to pass on, it's not really a tradition, but I'd like people to be more present. We live in a world where we're constantly thinking about the next thing. I work in social media, so I'm constantly online, and it's hard for me to switch off. And I just want, just to be present, to enjoy it, enjoy the moment, because you're never going to live the same day twice.
No, that's great. Kind of like a everybody sits at the dinner table type vibe, like soak it in. And exactly what you said is, since you're in social media, you got to do the exact opposite and kind of savor it, like be in the
Yeah,
presence of it. No, that makes sense. Well, thank
yeah.
you very much for being on the show. I appreciate it, and your take and your experience at the Grammys.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed talking about it, and it's like definitely relived some moments, because that was like a few years ago. So thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. And I guess, what time is it there, by the way?
It's 1:38.
Oh
Yeah.
man, this is probably the biggest time change I've done so far. But
Why? What time is it there?
it's 5:39 a.m.
Oh my God.
I wake up at 6 a.m. anyway, so it's a little bit earlier. So completely fine.
Oh my God. Wow. I really hope you have so much success with your podcast. I love podcasts.
Podcasts are very good. You just need to stay consistent. That's what
Yeah.
I've learned. But again, thanks again for doing this, just because not everyone loves podcasts and not everyone likes to talk, especially about
Yeah.
themselves too. Not saying that anyone is selfish, just a lot of people don't want to hear their own voice or, put themselves out
Yeah.
there. But thank you again, and I guess have a good day.
Yeah,
And
you
like,
too.
if you like this week's episode of People More Interesting Than Me, please follow me on Apple Podcasts so you won't miss out on more episodes like these.